phases. It's not like everybody across the globe is becoming instantly sort of known on the web. It's starting out in the places where the web has been used very heavily already, and it's sort of progressing outwards by waves. So I think that inevitably China is going to be also a lot less anonymous, and I think that it's tricky because the different government that that China has. I think that in a society that tries to respect individual rights, loss of anonymity is a safer thing. But I think there's some other consequences for loss of anonymity in that when you're not anonymous, and especially if you don't know that you're not anonymous, you become a target for identity thieves or whoever, people who want to do bad things to you. And I think at a certain level there may be some business opportunities for protecting people from that sort of attack. And I don't just mean like your social security number, like some new companies are trying to protect your ID, but just sort of generally speaking, your reputation online, for instance.
It was really interesting to see, like during the Iran election, the revolution, stuff like that, the protests and all that, like how the online community kind of responded with Tor networks and all of these things to protect people's identities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think that anonymity, if it can be preserved at least temporarily, can serve a very powerful function. But I just don't see any guarantees of it, being preserved long term, especially since data just doesn't go away on the web.
And what do you think about authority?
Authority?
Yeah, because anyone publishes anything and it's sort of a problem in all the networks.
So in terms of whether not some piece of information is authoritative or not, or
and who publishes authoritative information?
Right. Well, I guess it's kind of interesting to me to look at Wikipedia's successes and also its weaknesses, but I think that authority basically at a certain level can be defined on Wikipedia by how much people are willing to leave the information alone. So if your data is if you write a Wikipedia post that a lot of people read and few people change, you've basically earned the trust of your community. And I think that the areas where there's a lot of weakness still on Wikipedia have to do with things that are more matters of opinion than matters of fact. And so, profiles for presidents usually get locked down. And that's unavoidable because people are constantly just trying to inject opinion into those pages. But yeah, I think that there really is a kind of a bottom-up authority that you can compute for information on the web. And I think that the web is actually a very powerful tool for making that more possible than it was before. Because in the past, I think so much more opinion making was done top down by elites or people who controlled the media or governments, etc. And I think that a more bottom-up defined authority is actually more stable long term. There's actually, for Wikipedia, something called Wikitrust, and put together by a professor at UC Santa Cruz. And it basically computes for any edit on Wikipedia how trustworthy that edit may be.
I think in terms of authority also, you were mentioning how to track memes as they flow across different news sources, and I guess if you have that graph network, then you can do something like hubs and authorities on that. Or
Yeah. So there's definitely algorithms where you can sort of compute the reliability of information, and hubs and authorities is one method for kind of finding the sources of good information. So Twitter has its retweet API that allows you to do some of that, and actually because Twitter's API allows you to get at basically a large proportion of the history of Twitter, you have an opportunity to sort of construct your own graphs and do your own computations on there. And you can be sure that within Google they're doing all sorts of things to try and analyze authoritative sites versus sites that are basically just trying to game the SEO rankings to get good search results.
So now that the web's kind of, I guess, with us everywhere we go with phones and stuff like that, do you think that more and more of our everyday life is going to kind of end up as data on the web?
Yeah, I mean, if Google has anything to say about it. I think that, the one thing that isn't a slam dunk yet is that, most of the data on mobile networks, whether it's going to become webified or not. And I think that one of Google's strategies with Android was to try and make